Hey everyone, Reverend Dr. Katie here. I hope you're doing well today. And I am coming to you to talk a little bit about tarot cards because we've had a lot of questions coming up about that. I woke up fairly under the weather today, so I will receive all of your healing graces that you are sending to me. So I'm going to keep this a little bit shorter than I usually would, just out of a little bit of self-care so I can examine what in the world did I do to bring on this particular illness today. All right, so we've had a lot of questions about tarot cards. And before I get into any specifics about them, I have my little deck right here. I want to address some of the things that keep us from even exploring this. So there's just so much fear around these kind of tools, and that comes from old programming. It comes from like really fear-based approaches to Christianity, to religion, to how we explore the world in general. So let's talk about that first. Hey everyone, as you're joining, it's really great to see everyone. I was saying right before I started the video, I'm actually a little under the weather, so if I look all kind of pasty and weird, that's why. And I have my healing deck cards too, so we're gonna explore both of these today. So yeah, let's talk about what keeps you from exploring things like tarot. One is fear. Fear will keep you from trying new things, before anything else, and it's just like totally debilitating. So I encourage everyone to explore, where does that fear come from in your own life? Is that coming from old programming? Is it coming from something that's like not even named within you, like it's just there but you have no idea why or what that's doing, or how it got to be present in your life? I would encourage you to explore that deeply so that we can undo that particular fear block, because that will keep us from moving forward really, really quickly. And then what that does to us, when we have that fear, it can start to spread to other parts of life that don't even have anything to do with the origin of it. So if fear is keeping you from exploring tarot or using other tools in your spiritual life or exploring spiritual technology, what else is it keeping you from doing? Is it keeping you from moving forward in your life? Does it make you feel like you're split in two, like you constantly have to choose this or this? A spiritual technology or your Christian faith? Does it make you feel like you have to choose between your faith in Jesus Christ and something else new that could really benefit your life? And that kind of fear, when it's present in our lives, will be, it'll just tear us apart eventually. If you've ever felt like that, let me know, make a comment, show an emoticon or something like that, because that's something that really, really need to address. So when we talk about something like tarot cards, yeah, I see some emoticons coming through. Thanks, everyone. So when we talk about tarot cards, if sort of fear of exploring these has kept you from even asking the question, that's something that we probably need to dig a little deeper in. So the first thing I want to say about tarot cards, about crystals, about absolutely any spiritual technology that you use is that it is a tool. It is only a tool. If you want a deck of tarot cards to fix everything in your life, I'm sorry, but they're not capable of that. Only you and your intuition can do that. You have to be willing to dig really, really deep down into your own spirit, into your own soul, to see what is it calling to you to do. So I've been in people's houses and they've got every spiritual technology on every wall, but they don't really know how to use it. They don't know how to access their own inner wisdom. Any tool at all should help you access your own inner wisdom, your own capability of healing first and foremost. If you're using it from a fear-based position, it's not going to do you any good. That's part of the law of attraction. If you use it in a fear-based way, it's going to attract fear and negativity into your life. The cards will reflect that in your life. If you're using a tool like tarot, very open-minded, very grounded, and you're accessing your own inner wisdom and your own intuition first, and your use of the tool stems forward from that, it will bring you, some awareness and reflection for you. Okay, so that's first and foremost. So if that's resonating with you, let me know. A tool is only a tool, is only a tool, is only a tool. That's it. These are forms of energy, nothing more, nothing less. When we can approach them in that way, then we can really have them do some good in our lives, because they're asking us to access our own inner wisdom. So you're going to hear me say that over and over and over. Those of you who are new to me, my videos, you're going to hear me say, your own inner wisdom. Look to your own inner wisdom all the time. Okay, so they are only a tool. And if you're using any tool, especially cards, like 15 times a day, and you're trying to use them to make every decision, they're actually not doing you any good. The point of any kind of tool like this is to become familiar with it in order that you actually don't have to turn to it all the time, because you trust your own inner guidance. You trust your own inner wisdom. So they can be used to confirm that, or they can be used when you feel really stuck in a situation and you want to have some insight to get unstuck, to have some kind of food for thought for you and for your own soul. These are not meant to be directive. They're not meant to be fortune telling. They're meant to be guidance. They're meant to serve as guidance, much like a trusted friend would in your own life or part of your spirit team. Okay, so tarot cards. So here's mine. So truthfully, I don't use these a ton. I have other card decks that I use a little bit more, but honestly, I don't use cards all the time in my own life now, because I do trust my own inner wisdom, but I do use them for fun. I use them with other people a lot. I use them when I do feel stuck. So it's not like a never, it's just they're not out on my desk like all day, every day. But I do really, really like this deck. I like they're very beautiful. That's by Cat Black, K-A-T Black. And I just picked these up one day, a little bit on a whim, was in a store I'd never been in before. I was like, I need to get my own deck. So I did, and a beautiful book to go along with it. So tarot cards, the origins of tarot cards are just playing cards. At one time they were playing cards in the late Middle Ages, early Renaissance, and they served as a game. I mean, they were just kind of like the 52 deck that we have now. And they branched off into lots of different kind of schools, into different traditions, developed different kinds of decks with different artwork. And the artwork is very archetypal. It draws on the fears of humans, like fear of death, fear of pain, all of these things that are classic things that humans are scared of. So they draw us into our deepest fears, into our deepest joys, into our greatest greatest sorrows, greatest heights. And the archetypes on the card reflect all of those. So they are not meant to be divination. And for instance, if you draw the Hanging Man card, it doesn't mean that you're about to die necessarily. It means that maybe there's an area of your life that is being called to die so that you can live more fully. Maybe you're being called to put something to rest. And that's a very general example. You can get very detailed with these. And of course, as a Christian, we all know that we are called to die to our own life and rise again in Christ. That's what baptism is actually symbolic of. And so we have these same kind of symbols of the human life available within the Christian tradition as well. We haven't tended to put them in cards until the invention of tarot cards. So these kind of cards were used by Christians actually for hundreds of years. And it was only in the past 250, 300 years that they began to be kind of thought of as suspicious. And there's a whole history behind that. I'm not going to get into all of that right now, but these have been used by Christians for a long time. And again, we shouldn't approach them as problem solving, but as opportunity for deep reflection. And if we approach them as problem solving, we're going to be very disappointed, because it's a card deck. They're very sensitive and very sophisticated, but they rely on your own connection to your own heart and your own spirit before they can really do some deep work in your own life, because you are the one doing the deep work, not the cards. Right? It's your interaction with the cards and the kind of energy that you put into them. So with every deck that I have, I take some time and get to know it and put my own energy in it and bless it and ask it to be used for the greatest good, always. All right, so that's tarot. So maybe that will take some of the fear. Sorry, I just shook the computer. Maybe that will take some of the fear out of this for you. But again, this is about accessing your own inner wisdom and not feeling like you have to choose this or that. If you always feel like you have to choose this or that, it's going to be a pretty painful ride. And the tools will probably never be used to the fullest extent of their ability for you. And so that's the real magic that has to take place first, is to learn to access this deep part of you and to learn to trust it, to really, really trust that intuition. All right, so this really applies to every tool: cards, tarot cards, crystals, pendulums, and like absolutely anything. If you're over addicted to them, if you're using them too much, they're not serving you. If you're using them in the right kind of balance, then they are serving you. So for those of us who are Christians, who are Jesus followers, this should really open the doors wide open for us, because we're always seeking guidance directly from the Holy Spirit, from the life, ministry, teachings, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And that comes first and foremost. And then if we're guided to particular tools like tarot, then we are. And we can, I can teach you how, kind of how to do that as you're moving through your own journey. So what I'm going to do now is actually use my Raphael cards. These are not tarot cards, but because I said I don't feel that well, so I'm going to use these for me just to show you an example. So again, I want to enter this from a very clear place. I had a little silence before I got onto this call just to center myself. And I'm going to clear these, just use them. And I'm simply going to ask for a card that will guide me to my own inner wisdom to the greatest health as quickly as possible. We'll see what it is. I haven't had the opportunity today to take a lot of time to kind of reflect on why did I not feel so well? So I'm going to do that pretty soon after this call. All right, so you probably hear it shuffling. It's probably kind of loud. There we go. And so this may, what I find is that usually these kind of drawing these cards is beneficial for me as the one who doesn't feel that great, but it's usually beneficial for those who are watching and interacting as well. So just see how this resonates with your own inner wisdom. Okay, I think that's the card. Okay, so this one, yeah, it says increased energy. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for filling me with the unlimited energy of divine love and light. It's very, very beautiful. So this one is kind of calling on angels to, asking me to kind of call on divine healing light that angels and God and Jesus and everyone can provide for me. So I'm going to encourage everyone to do this, to just bask in this light and whatever gives you energy today. I love it. I just put on this little angel wing ring right before I got on the call too. It was sitting out, so I grabbed it. So it's reminding me that this is available to me. So you know what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go sit and bask in some divine love and light and not ask my body not to do anything for a little while and just do that and accept all of that energy. Yeah, and that's resonating with me. I've had just a busy few days, been traveling, have not taken all the opportunity to just sit and receive God's abundance, God's healing in my own life. We all have the capability for self-healing. I'm going to go access that for myself. Generally, when I get sick and have these little moments of contrast and wake up feeling less than, there's generally a very kind of concrete spiritual, emotional reason, like I've overdone it, or I haven't been paying attention, or I haven't taken the time, or I need to sit until I have a realization. And the only way Spirit is getting me to do that is by allowing me to be a little ill. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and just kind of rely on my own inner wisdom from the insights I got from these particular cards. Okay, so that is your lesson on tarot cards and how they may or may not be useful in your life. I would say if you're feeling kind of satisfied with that and at ease, great, go forth, have fun. If you are not, then feel like you're having trouble accessing your own inner intuition, like you can't heal this divide, that the split is not making sense, then please reach out to me, because that is what I'm here for. That's the number one place to start. You can have all the card decks on your walls that you want, but if you're not using them from a place of authenticity, of intuitive knowingness, they're just going to sit there and they're going to collect dust. So when you use this spiritual technology, I want you to do it from a place of deep authenticity, of deep trust, of accessing your own inner wisdom and bridging that gap, so you're not feeling like you have to choose one or the other. Reach out to me anytime. That's what I'm here for, and I would love to hear from all of you. All right, everyone, talk to you soon.